updates, as well as the NBA game schedule for tomorrow. For the game result for today, Josh Hart drops a triple-double performance of 20 points with 19 rebounds and 10 assists. Jalen Brunson added 20 points to giving the New York Knicks a win against Philadelphia 76ers with a score of 106-79. The Indiana Pacers beat the Oklahoma City Thunder with a score of 121-111. And the top scorer for Indiana is Miles Turner had 24 points and Tyrese Halliburton and Pascal Siakam both scored 18 points. The Houston Rockets get their third straight win after defeating the San Antonio Spurs with a score of 103-101. And the top scorer for Rockets is Fred VanVleet and Jalen Green, who had 21 and 16 points. The Memphis Grizzlies ended their two-game losing streak after holding off the Washington Wizards with a score of 109-197. And the top scoring for Memphis is Trey Jemison and Gigi Jackson, who had 24 and 19 points. Jason Tatum drops 38 points and Derek White scored 24 points to help the Boston Celtics get their third straight win after beating the Utah Jazz with a score of 123-107. The Minnesota Timberwolves ended their two-game losing streak after defeating the LA Clippers with a score of 118-100. Anthony Edwards and Nickeil Alexander-Walker is the top scoring for Minnesota with 37 and 28 points. And the Sacramento Kings beat the Milwaukee Bucks with a score of 129-94. And the top scoring for Sacramento is De'Aaron Fox and Malik Monk, who had 29 and 25 points. And here are the Eastern Conference standings updates. The number 15 and number 14 is Washington Wizards and Detroit Pistons are eliminated for the NBA playoffs. The number 13 in standings is Charlotte Hornets with a record of 16 wins and 49 losses. The number 12 in standings is Toronto Raptors had 23 wins and 42 losses. Number 11 in standings is Brooklyn Nets had 26 wins and 39 losses. The number 10 in standings is Atlanta Hawks had 29 wins and 35 losses. The number 9 in standings is Chicago Bulls had 31 wins and 34 losses. The number 8 in standings is Miami Heat had 35 wins and 29 losses. The number 7 in standings is Philadelphia 76ers had 36 wins and 29 losses. The number 6 is Indiana Pacers had 37 wins and 29 losses. The number 5 in standings is Orlando Magic had 37 wins and 28 losses. The number 4 in standings is New York Knicks had 38 wins and 27 losses. The number 3 is Cleveland Cavaliers had 41 wins and 24 losses. The number 2 in standings is Milwaukee Bucks had 42 wins and 24 losses. And the number 1 in Eastern Conference standings is Boston Celtics with a record of 51 wins and 14 losses. In the Western Conference standings updates, San Antonio Spurs are officially eliminated for the NBA playoffs. The number 14 is Portland Trail Blazers had 18 wins and 46 losses. The number 13 is Memphis Grizzlies had 23 wins and 43 losses. The number 12 is Utah Jazz had 28 wins and 37 losses. The number 11 is Houston Rockets had 30 wins and 35 losses. The number 10 in standings is Golden State Warriors had 34 wins and 30 losses. The number 9 in standings is Los Angeles Lakers had 36 wins and 30 losses. The number 8 in standings is Dallas Mavericks had 37 wins and 28 losses. The number 7 in standings is Sacramento Kings had 37 wins and 27 losses. The number 6 in standings is Phoenix Suns had 38 wins and 27 losses. The number 5 in standings is New Orleans Pelicans had 39 wins and 25 losses. The number 4 in standings is LA Clippers had 41 wins and 23 losses. Number 3 in standings is Minnesota Timberwolves had 45 wins and 21 losses. The number 2 in standings is Denver Nuggets had 45 wins and 20 losses. And the number 1 in Western Conference standings is Oklahoma City Thunder had 45 wins and 20 losses. And here are the games schedule for tomorrow. At 7 a.m. had two-game schedule, Detroit Pistons vs Toronto Raptors and Orlando Magic vs Brooklyn Nets. At 7:30 a.m., Miami Heat vs Denver Nuggets and Indiana Pacers vs Chicago Bulls. At 8 a.m., Memphis Grizzlies vs Charlotte Hornets and New Orleans Pelicans vs Cleveland Cavaliers. At 8:30 a.m., Dallas Mavericks take on the Golden State Warriors. At 10 a.m. had two-game schedule, Sacramento Kings vs Los Angeles Lakers and Portland Trail Blazers vs Atlanta Hawks.